Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing well. And I had to re-record this episode here of of the podcast because I recorded it last night. But I was using a microphone. It's one of those wireless microphones that has a receiver that you plug into your phone. So apparently the microphone's lost its charge. It stopped working. I don't know if it was, I think it might have been halfway through, and my brother called me today to tell me that the sound dropped out about halfway through the video, and I was like, oh Lord. So I took it down, and so now I'm re-recording. So that's what we're doing. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Kathy. This podcast, as you can see, is called Make It Make Sense, and I've created this podcast for the purpose of telling my story. I'm 53 years old, and I've lived a very interesting life, and I've had a lot of ups and I've had a lot of downs, and I've been through a lot of things. And I just want to be able to share my stories with people, and in hopes to help people along the way. And one of the things that Kamala Harris said a lot is that we have more that, how did she say it? We have more in common than what separates us, I think is how she said it. And, I still hold on to the belief that there are more people in this country that have good hearts and care about people than there are people that don't. So I still have hope for our country, and I'm doing something different for this podcast, for this episode, and I might continue this. I'm not sure, but I do want to talk about what has happened in the last few days since Donald Trump was inaugurated, and go over some of the things that he has done. And I am happy to share my thoughts and my feelings about it. And you don't have to agree with me on my thoughts and my feelings. I did not vote for Trump the first time he ran. I didn't vote for him this time, and never ever had any inkling of a desire for that man to be our president. And I feel like he's come in like a wrecking ball this time. It's really something to see. It's been interesting. So I just want to talk about some things. And the first thing I want to talk about here is this has just been overlooked. The media hasn't reported on it. Nobody's saying anything about it, but I know a lot of you have seen it. During Donald Trump's inauguration rally, he admitted to rigging, is how he worded it, rigged the election. He admitted to it. There's no other way to see it. The words can't be interpreted any other way. So he first started talking about Elon Musk, and he was saying something about, oh, he's so good with those computers. And then he was like, and he knows how to work those voting machines. And he said, and I won Pennsylvania, and I have him to thank for it. So that was kind of a little cryptid. Like that you could take several ways, because he mentioned that Elon campaigned for him there and basically was paying people to commit to voting for him, is kind of what he did. I'm not even sure if that's legal, but I'm not, I should probably research that. But anyway, so you could take that you could take that more than one way. It wasn't like a definite, like, oh yes, he just confessed. But then he started talking about the Olympics that are coming up, and the World Cup. And I believe he was referencing them as they're coming up during his administration. And he said, oh, I wasn't going to be able to be there. I wasn't, because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But his exact words were, it's only because they rigged the election that I will get to be there. That's what he said. And I reposted it. You can go to my channel. I've reposted the video. I got it from X. Someone else had posted it there. I couldn't believe it was still up. I was flabbergasted that I was able to get it. And so, because someone had posted it on TikTok, so then I was like, well, where is this video? Where did it come from? So then I looked it up, found it. I don't have an account on X. I want nothing to do with X. And, I think that we're all going to need to be canceling all of these platforms. And I don't know, someone's got to come up with an alternative. But, I am on Blue Sky, but I haven't really been active on there. So I don't really know a lot about Blue Sky. But, I'm not even going to get into like what's going on with TikTok, because that's just a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But it's obviously being ran by Meta, and there's so many things that have changed. They had that time it went dark and it came back on, and it's like, oh, what happened? And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's a good place to be right now. So anyway, but someone had posted it on TikTok, so then I looked it up and I found it on X, which I couldn't believe it was on there. I couldn't believe it was still up. So I posted it. I copied the link. I posted it on Facebook. I posted it on YouTube. I was like, people need to see this. I mean, he's confessing to rigging the election. And so, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. That's all. It's a wait and see. Everything's a wait and see right now. So I'm just going to get off of that subject. So in coming to, well, I got a visitor here. Come here. I have a guest. Come here. Come here. He's my guest. Oh, okay. This is Levi. He is, I live with my sister and my niece, and this is my sister's dog, but he's my doggy too, and I love him to death. But yeah, there's Levi. He doesn't like to be separated from any human. If there's a human that is available, he wants to be with them. So so that's how he is. So he wanted to get up here, and he's a little guy, so he was having a hard time jumping, so I had to pick him up. Anyway. Oh, it's okay. When he gets excited, he gets a little, calm down. It's okay. But yeah, that's Levi. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, which I know y'all probably have seen the video, but the bishop, her name is Marianne Edgar Buddha. I'm not sure how you say her last name. It's spelled Budde. Of course, she was the bishop that spoke at the inaugural. It was an inaugural prayer service. So, I'm just going to read really quick what she said, and then we're going to talk about the aftermath. So she said, "Mr. President, millions have put their trust in you, as you told the nation yesterday. You have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask that you have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared." And then she said, "Please," wait a minute, sorry. I had to do this I had wrote it down wrong, in the wrong order. Okay, so let's see. Who are scared. Now there are... Okay, so she said, "I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared. Now there are gay and lesbian and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent homes who fear for their lives. The people who clean your offices, pick our crops, sorry, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. They may not be citizens and have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors, and they are faithful members of our churches and mosques and synagogues and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on these are communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here our God. Our God teaches that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the courage to, I have a hard time reading my own handwriting. May God grant us the courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all the people in the nation and world. Amen. So this is what she said at the prayer, and of course, Donald Trump is not at all happy with what she said, and people, the Proud Boys and the other group, I have their name here somewhere. But anyway, these white supremacist groups are all coming out against her. And then a lot of people are saying that she should be deported. She is an American citizen. She was born here, and they want to deport her. And I'm like, oh, so we're going to start deporting American citizens too? But I'm not saying that's what we're going to start doing, but that's what they're asking for. So Donald Trump said, this that I'm reading is from the HuffPost, and he said Donald Trump flipped out on social media. That's what they're saying. He flipped out on social media. Buddha is a so-called bishop who was a radical left hardline Trump hater. This is what he said. Oh, I can read the whole. He posted this on Truth Social. Oh God, this is too small for me to read. The so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, guys. I have a hard time seeing. I have a light here, though. I need to use it because I can't see. Okay. All right, there we go. Now I can see it better. She had a nasty tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime that is taking place in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was very boring and an uninspiring one. She is not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. So that was his response to what she said to him, because it goes against everything he believes. And he wants to push his rhetoric that he's been pushing. He pushed it his whole campaign and trying to make people think that, okay, so, just to be realistic about things, do we want people to come into our country and kill people and commit crimes? And of course not. And if you're going to come to this country and, you know, to say, people always use the term here illegally, they're here illegally, but people do not realize how incredibly difficult it is to get your citizenship here. So, yeah. But if you are going to come to another country, it doesn't, you got the nerve to just start, you know, wreaking havoc and committing crimes and stuff. Okay, so yeah, those people need to be deported for sure. But this isn't what is happening, guys. They plan on deporting people who've lived here for many, many years and have paid taxes and work and are just everyday people. They're not just deporting criminals, they're deporting anyone who is undocumented. And even if they're in, you know, they could be in the process of trying to get their documentation. It doesn't matter. It's a shame. It's a shame, you all. And I mean, feel how you want to feel about it. Now, do I think that we need to tighten up our borders? I absolutely do. I do think something needs to be done about the border situation. And I don't have any problems or issues with tightening up our borders and vetting people when they come into this country. That is not my issue. It's not my issue at all. Because yeah, we do need to do something about immigration. But to you know, these mass deportations that they're talking about, it includes a wide variety of people, and most are not criminals, and they're just hardworking people, and they're just trying to make their way in this country. And it's absolutely gut-wrenching to think about, and to think about children being separated from their families and from their parents. And so yeah, there's that. And it just breaks my heart, and I hate to see this happening. I really do. And they've already started with the deportations, and they let me see here. Is this the one I want? No, that's the one about workplace discrimination. Okay, maybe I don't have it, but I did have another article, but I don't want to really quote articles if I don't have my sources. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next topic, which I'm gonna talk about these these pardons, the pardoning of all of the 1,500 January 6th insurrectionists. So we all know that happened. That's not new news. We know it happened, but I've been really curious about the reactions of other people in government, and just in general how people are reacting to this and what they think about it. So I just want to read you this conversation that Donald Trump had with a news reporter. It was NBC News, Peter Alexander. He was doing I don't know if it was a press conference. I'm gonna guess it was, but he said to Donald Trump, "You would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer, correct?" Trump said, "Sure." And of course, we all have to remember that he was the one that said he was going to back the blue, and you know, he was yeah, okay. So he said, "Sure." And then Peter's response was, "So then if I can, among those you pardoned, DJ Rodriguez, oh my gosh, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a DC police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. Alexander said. He later confessed on video and to the FBI, pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon? This is Trump's response. Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and looking at pardons. And then he informed him it was a pardon. Well, look at everything, he continued. Trump diverted to false claims about, let me get to the next page, false claims about murderers never being charged in blue cities. He veered off into the false allegations about the George Floyd protest, but the word salad, but in the word salad there was a few details about his decision to pardon, though not focusing on Rodriguez in particular. Basically, he never answered the question. He started going into this whole thing about that they've done enough time, the conditions that they're in the prison are inhumane, he said, and they've already served their years in prison, and they served them viciously, is what he said. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. So he never answered the question, and of course, you know how he does. He dodges stuff like that But he also said, I watched the video of it too. This article was also from HuffPost, but I pulled the article because I wanted to be able to read what he said. But I did watch the video, and I reposted it on my YouTube. You can watch it too. But when he first answered the reporter, he said, "Well, people are just tired of people like you," or something. Who I don't know. It was. But yeah, he never answered the question. So another thing that did happen in line with that is this Oath Keepers group, which is another white supremacy group. The leader, his name is Stuart Rhodes. He was one of the people that was pardoned. So he got to make a visit to the Capitol today. Was it the Capitol? Let me make sure. Stuart Rhodes, the leader of the far-right extremist group, the Oath Keepers, and convicted of seditious conspiracy in the January 6th attack, made a visit to Capitol Hill Wednesday following President Trump's commutation of his 18-year prison sentence. His visit occurred the day after he was released. And it says that Rhodes was convicted of one of the most serious. His is one of the most serious cases that was prosecuted by the Justice Department, stemming from the riot, which resulted in injuries to more than 100 police officers. And we had police officers that lost their life that day too. So, yeah. So I'm just giving y'all the facts. You can decide what you think about them. And, you know, one of the other things that Donald Trump ran on and said, you've heard him say it, that he was going to be the president of law and order. And now he's pardoning these convicted criminals. And of course he's a convicted criminal himself, but, you know, he'll never serve a day in jail, is most likely. I'm not holding out any hope that he'll ever serve any time in jail for any of the crimes he's been convicted of. And once he once said, I could walk down Fifth Avenue and I could shoot someone, and my people would still love me. And I believe that. That's what people don't understand when he says things. When he says things that people think sound ridiculous, or oh, he didn't really say that, or they don't take it seriously, they should. Like when he admitted to rigging the election, he meant that. He meant it. It happened. And, you know, I'm sitting here with, you know, I thought something would be done about this before now, and I don't know if anything is going to be done about it. I got my fingers crossed. kind of hoping, but with everything else he's gotten away with, it's like nobody cares. Nobody cares that a, uh, according to the Constitution, that if you have incited an insurrection or committed treason, you're disqualified from running for office. Okay, so, but he ran, and he's our president now. It's like he's untouchable. So I never do hold out hope that he's going to be held accountable for anything he does. I think that's why he's so confident in just spouting out and telling what he did. You know, just admitting to it, because he knows that nothing's going to be done about it. So the last thing I want to talk about, and this goes back to I haven't mentioned this, but my daughter is biracial, and I'm going to do a podcast about her dad, because him and I, we dated each other in high school, and this was in the 80s, and this was, way before this was commonplace like it is now, and it was a whole different world back then. And we dated in high school, we got married, and then we waited a couple years before we had her, but we had my daughter. She's my only child, and I have a granddaughter as well. But I'm not trying to say that to be like, this is why I feel the way I do. I've always been a very compassionate person for people who are in marginalized communities, whether it's well, I'm included because I'm a woman, but if it's people who are black or brown, or people who are transgender, gay, lesbian, non-binary, however people identify, anybody that's in a marginalized community, I've always had compassion for. I've wore this shirt for a reason, and this hat that says "Love is Love." I wore it on purpose for this video, but it's not the only movement that I support. I'm in support of anybody, and I want to bring attention to injustices on people who are in marginalized communities. And so Donald Trump, and so with that said, Donald Trump orders all executive agencies to place DEI employees on leave. So he ordered for all of them to be put on leave. He signed a wave of executive orders, and this was one of them. He declared the national border emergency. That was one of they're talking about. Yeah, he did. He declared a national emergency at the border and issued the sweeping pardons, and we've already talked about that. But the hold on, let me see what it says here. He's meeting with the House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, and GOP leaders charged with turn his agenda into law. So the executive branch says to shutter all DEI, this is from USA Today, by the way, and accessibility offices. Wednesday, put employees on leave. They ordered for them to close all diversity, equity, and inclusion accessibility offices by close of business Wednesday. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed Tuesday evening. So, and to follow up with that, on Wednesday, today is Wednesday. I don't know when you'll see this, but today's Wednesday. On Wednesday, President Donald Trump revoked a 6-decade-old executive order designed to combat workplace discrimination by federal contractors, undoing a landmark labor standard that stretches back to the presidency of Lyndon Johnson. The rule Trump nuked, Executive Order 11246, forbade federal contractors from discriminating on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. It granted the Labor Department the power to enforce its provisions through a contracting standards office. So he just did away with it. And I mean, like I said, I'm giving you facts. And if you did vote for him, I have to ask, is this what you voted for? Is this what you wanted? Because this affects all of us, whether you know it or not. If you don't have any protection in the workplace, then you have no leg to stand on if you are discriminated against for any reason. I guess you just have to just take it. Of course. So it says Trump, okay, so this is a statement that he gave today. Trump attacked it as radical DEI, short for diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI programs which aim to improve workplace conditions and reduce hiring disparities for underrepresented minorities have grown into a conservative obsession and major policy target for Trump and his allies. And he often says that DEI enables reverse discrimination. He said that the Labor Department would be forbidden from pushing contractors to balance their workforce based on race, sex, gender identity, sexual preference, or religion. He called his order rolling back the 60-year-old protections, the most important federal civil rights measure in decades. Oh my gosh. I just keep hearing Kamala Harris during her campaign saying, we're not going back. We're not going back. And, she rightfully won the election. I don't care if anybody believes me or not, but she did. And she is the rightful president. Whether that comes to fruition or not, I do not know. I'm keeping my opinions about the Blue Party to myself for now until I see if anything's going to be done, and then I will have something to say about it. But for myself personally, I have always I'm a registered Democrat, but me and my brother were talking earlier, and I told him, I said, I don't want to be affiliated with any political party. I said, so I'm not sure what that's called, but I don't want to be affiliated with any of them. I said, except for Bernie Sanders. I'm going to create my own political party. It's going to be called the Bernie Sanders Party, because I think Bernie Sanders has the most sense, more sense than most politicians, and I think his policies are perfect for our country, and he really does care about the working class, and he fights for us. I say them like I'm not working class. Fights for us every single day. There's a couple others. AOC, I have grown to really admire her. She's been doing a lot of speaking out, and I love it. And I'm like, well, at least we have one that I know. Well, Bernie Sanders has been too, but AOC has really been speaking out a lot, and I've seen a lot of posts on TikTok and YouTube, and she's letting her voice be heard, and I love that. I love that, because that's what we need to be doing. Do not comply in advance, and do not be afraid. You shouldn't be afraid anyway, because there's nothing to fear. It seems scary, but we are all going to be okay. I do know that. We're going to be okay, regardless of what happens. Is this what we wanted? And I'm pretty sure that even people on the red side are not, maybe not all of them, but I'm sure a lot of them are saying to themselves, "Oh, this is really not what I voted for." Because I haven't heard anything about. I haven't heard one word from Donald Trump about the price of eggs. And on that topic, I just want, me and my brother were talking earlier too, and we get into some good conversations, and he wants to come on my podcast, so we're gonna have to figure that out. So anyway, I just want to say about the price of groceries, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but just to clarify, Kroger's admitted, and I think they were speaking for all grocery chains, but the grocery stores started price gouging after COVID, during and after COVID. They were price gouging because they were trying to make up for the loss from COVID, okay? And they've just continued to do it because no one's stopping them. And I don't really know. I mean, maybe somebody can let me know, but I don't really know that the government has any control over that or can do anything about it, because during the campaigns, I didn't just watch Kamala's campaign. I watched Trump's campaign too. I watched the whole entire Republican National Convention. I watched every single time he was speaking at a rally, because I like to be informed. I was not contemplating on voting for him. I just wanted to see what the other side was saying. And I do not know how many times I heard, now this was mostly J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance talked a lot about Americans not being able to afford the groceries and gas. Now the gas thing I really don't understand, because gas prices have been low for a very long time. And right now they're lower than they're really low right now. At least here it's like $2, and it's under $3 a gallon right now. But they've been pretty steady. Like, I haven't seen. I mean, I remember when gas was like close to $5 a gallon. I remember that. I don't think it ever got to $5, but it was really, really close. It was like $4.89 a gallon. It was so ridiculous. But I haven't really seen gas prices be extremely high for for many years. Now, am I going to credit Joe Biden for that? No, because I don't really think that the president has anything to do with gas prices. Maybe he does. I don't know. But they just kept pushing this gas and groceries thing, and I'm like, groceries are expensive. They are. I have to agree with that. They're ridiculous. The cost of living in general is ridiculous, and I don't disagree with that. And I do believe something needs to be done, but the grocery prices are the way they are because they're price gouging us. Other industries are doing it as well that lost money during COVID. So that's a lot of the reason prices have gone up on things, because of price gouging. So there's that. But anyway, so I'm going to end here, and I just want to say that I'd appreciate it if you would leave a comment, and please subscribe. I'm trying to build this platform. I'm brand new. This is my 5th episode, and I'm trying to build a platform, and so I need your help to do that. Share it out, if you will. Tell people about it. Word of mouth is a good way to build, and I'm also on Spotify, but I so if you're listening to this on Spotify, same thing. Please comment, please subscribe, follow, like, do all the things. It doesn't cost you anything to do all those things, so it just would really help me, because I really want to get this out there. So anyway, I really appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for watching. Thank you for your support, and I will see you next time.